This is going to be my final prediction for the House of Representatives, guys. The end all be all. Let's go. All right. As you can see, we're starting off with a lot of browns or grays, or however you want to see it. Um, Now, it's important that I do tell you right now the RCP generic ballot is not looking good. And if we were going off of the 2018 House of Representatives election, you could see that the Democrats did gain 41 seats, unfortunately. And they did get 10 million more votes than we did almost. So they beat us by 8 to 9%. And that basically is no bueno. And we are relegated to about 197 representatives, 200 compared to like 235, something like that. So we'll see what seats are competitive. So we'll go to the state of Alabama, and we'll take it state to state, by the way. Um, as of right now, we are not looking great in Alabama. As you can see right here, none of them are competitive. So nowhere to flip here. Alaska, same thing. We have Don Young. I'm pretty sure the oldest guy in the Congress. And no bueno, he is staying there. No flips in Alaska. Arizona for the House of Representatives does show a little bit of promise for the Republicans. Just kidding, no, there isn't. As you can see, we have Tom O'Halloran versus this woman called Tiffany Shedd, and Tiffany Shedd is not a remarkable candidate. I saw the debate between Sleepy Tom O'Halloran, who looks like a discount Joe Biden, and is about the same age as well. He did not debate well, but Tiffany Shedd did not make the press there, so no movement there. Yes, the president did win this district by 1, but if you take account to the doomers that say that he'll lose the state or make it closer and lose the margin in the first congressional district, then it would go to show that things are not looking too well. And yes, in 2018, he did do relatively well. In 2018, he did outperform the president's number by 8, but it was a blue wave, so I do suspect Tom O'Halloran to win by like 3. So this is going to be a lean for Tom. So that's unfortunate. This guy's useless. David Schweikert. Schweikert has a hard name, and he's going against Haral Tepereni, who's I think an Arab or something. No good. For Arizona, the president won it by 10. He won it in the House by 10. People say that Arizona's 6th congressional district is somehow in play. I got to tell you, you're retarded. As you can see, the vast majority of the people here are white. Median income looks good. R plus 9. Guys, you guys are retarded if you think that David is going to lose at all. Some people are saying that David will make it a sleeper flip, or that there's a chance that it'll go to the Democrats. And sorry, you guys just do not know. Arizona 6 is 1,000% not in play. And if it is in play, can you name the Democratic opponent? I don't think so, unless you read the screen. Anna Kirkpatrick, she's keeping her spot. Fat-ass lard Raul Grijalga will somehow keep his seat. This guy needs to be gone. Paul Gosar, the best congressman we have in this country, will win re-election very easily, thank God. Again, best congressman in the country. I'm not even going to argue about this. He controls about a third of the state, apparently, in land size. Very white. So it's good for Republicans not flipping. Anyways, none of these other seats are even close. Debbie Lesko's keeping the seat. Do not worry about that. Let's move on to the next state, which is going to be Arkansas. Arkansas only has one that is competitive, and that is going to be French Hill. French Hill underperformed the president in a blue wave, which is obviously true. He's obviously going to win, though, by a likely to safe, so we'll just say likely because I'm being charitable to the election mafia. California is important for the Congress, even though it might look like it's breaking off in the seams here. The second half of the state, the Republican part of the state is very important to keep in our side, to keep the Congress. As you can see right now, Josh Harder in the 10th district will keep his seat. TJ Cox, who is Asian, he looks white but he's Asian, will lose to the pro-DACA candidate David Valadao. Some people are trying to cover up the fact that he's pro-DACA, but he is pro-DACA. He's an optics cock, but anyways, nothing wrong with that, right? He will lose it lean, whatever you want to call it. TJ Cox barely held on in a blue wave. It just goes to show he's pretty weak. David's a pretty good candidate for the district. If you were to look up the 21st Congressional District, you can see right now that it is 70% Hispanic. So to have a Hispanic guy run is very important. So there you go. Devin Nunes is winning as well. Don't worry about him. Mike Garcia vastly outperformed the polls by, I think, like 9% or something. Hispanic candidate Christy Smith, not even in the news anymore. I recall she was in the news like 5 months ago or something when there was a competitive race here for a special election over this whore called Katie Hill. Anyway, Mike Garcia is definitely going to win, probably by a lean to likely, so let's just say likely, whatever. What is the name? Hill Cisneros, bad name, is gonna win against Young Kim. Young Kim, stupid name anyway, don't want him to win. Katie Porter's going to keep the seat. Harley Ruda is not going to lose his seat either. The 48 is not in play. It would have been in play if there were no pandemic and the economy were good, but unfortunately that is not the case. So apparently to me, we are flipping only one seat here, and it's truly unfortunate because there's a couple we could have flipped in a better scenario, but that's just not in the cards apparently for us. Colorado. There's nothing much going on here other than Scott Timpton, who I'm pretty sure got defeated in the primary for being too liberal, and he'll be succeeded by Lauren Boebert, who is a young woman, a millennial woman, I believe, something like that, in her 30s, so good for her, I suppose. We have a more conservative girl, if that's an oxymoron. If it sounds like an oxymoron, it probably is, but we'll see what happens. Nothing in Connecticut is competitive. The disgusting-looking Rosa DeLauro is going to keep her seat, unfortunately. She's very unattractive. She's an honorary transsexual. Don't quote me. Delaware, Lisa Rochester is going to easily win, even though this black lady is running against Lee Murphy. Lee Murphy has no identity. Nobody knows who he is, so no surprises here. And yes, Trump did make it a lot closer, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. She's still going to win no matter what. Florida. We move on, and there's a lot of things we need to look in this state. Ross Spano got defeated. Doesn't matter. Scott Franklin or whoever has that seat, Florida 15, will win. Vern Buchanan will win, of course. Brian Mast will win. Debbie Murkisel Powell, she will not win, even though she's a crappy candidate. Well, actually, hold on. Against Carlos Jimenez, because, well, okay, extremely urban. So if it's really urban, okay, very Hispanic as well. So this is troubling. Trump will eat into that 16%, but at the same time, I have no idea why she only barely won in 2018. That's really weird. So I'll say that she'll win barely, but that's very odd to me. Very odd. I don't know. Donna Shalala, who knows who that is, against Maria Salazar. So that's going to be a win for the Donna chick. Anyways, everybody's going to win here other than Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is an important guy to look forwards in the future. In the Congress, he has a safe seat, so no matter how much you haters hate on Matt Gaetz, he's going to stay. Georgia is another state that might have some competitive seats in the future, but as of right now has two. Right now we have Lucy McBath, who is in Georgia 6th. Georgia 6th is ran by this black lady in a very, very urban part of around, I believe, of Atlanta. And since the suburbs are going against Trump, unfortunately, I do see Lucy McBath as winning this by a lean to tilt margin. Rob Woodall, who is being replaced by Rich McCormick, is probably going to win here. I could see Trump winning the district by, I would say, let's say 4, and have the McCormick guy win by 2 or 3. That makes sense to me. Buddy Carter, everybody else below him are going to keep their seats. So it stays basically the same. In Hawaii, everything is solid blue. Doesn't matter. Tulsi Gabbard is not running for re-election because she is dumb. or maybe the party exiled her. Who knows what happened there? We're going now to the next state of Idaho. Idaho has nothing going on. And if you're curious, here it is. Again, nothing is in competition here. Don't worry about it. Illinois does have a couple seats that are important, especially with Daniel Lipinski. But as of right now, we do have the 14th district down where? In Cook County, right around there. That's suburban, meaning that Lauren Underwood, while Trump did win it, Lauren Underwood is going against a nobody who is Jim Oberweis, okay? And honestly, if the suburbs are trending against Trump a little bit or something like that, then I guess she will win barely by a tilt margin, something like that. Rodney Davis is going against Betsy Londrigan in the 13th district, which is right here in the center in the south. And honestly, with this, he will hold on because he did win in a blue wave by over 1%, and Trump will do about the same that he did last time, give or take 1 or 2 points. All these other ones are irrelevant, and let's move on to Indiana. Indiana has one relevant one called in here. Susan Brooks is retiring. Victoria Spartz will definitely win. Safe. Don't worry about it. Iowa has one probably that we have to worry about here, or actually two, right? Abby Fickenauer in the 1st district here. That seems like an interesting pick-off. The Democrats are barely holding on here. So we're going to look right now, and apparently it is decently urban but then rural at the same time because it does have Cedar Rapids and Iowa City right around there. Okay. It covers Dubuque, Cedar Rapids, and Waterloo. Interesting. So is Trump going to do better, yes or no? With the coattails, Ashley Hinson could win. I'm going to give it to the Republican here. David Losbach is not going to be running. So it's going to be Rita Hart versus Marionette Miller Meeks. Since this guy's not running against and Rita Hart is a nobody, let's assume Trump does carry her by coattail. And let's say in terms of this election in the Iowa 3rd district, the coattails may make Trump carry David Young over the finish line. I don't know who that is. And Randy Feenstra will definitely win, so do not worry about that. Anyway, let's go to Kansas. Kansas is pretty irrelevant as well. The 2nd district has Steve Watkins. Steve Watkins will definitely win. Sorry, not Steve Watkins, but Jake LaTurner, whoever is next to him in succession, will win because of the coattails of the president. Let's go on to Kentucky. Kentucky is going to be not very competitive anywhere. Andy Barr will definitely keep his seat, likely, at least. So that's going to be good for Republicans, I guess, improving on margins slightly. Move on. The only place that is Democrat here is the black part, the parish of New Orleans, I suppose. Nothing interesting to see here, honestly. So that's that. Move on to the state of Maine. Maine has probably one that is honestly relevant, and it's going to be the district with Jared Golden. Jared Golden won by 1%. Dale Crafts is probably going to be carried by the president because he won by a safe margin in 2016. The blue wave definitely carried Jared Golden, so I'm going to have it lean Dale Crafts. Okay, that's the one that's relevant. So the at-large district or whatever, the 2nd district does go to the Republican here. That's a flip. That's good. In Maryland. Maryland is irrelevant other than the right wing here, which is not enough to flip anything statewide, nor will any congressional district be in play anyways. Florida is important, but I already covered it. Sorry. Let's move on to the next state of Missouri, or actually Massachusetts. Nothing to see in Massachusetts. Liberal as hell. Move on to the state of Michigan. Michigan has a couple of important races here. Justin Amash will be replaced by Peter Meyer easily, likely at least. Fred Upton will keep a spot easily against this. I think he was a homosexual. John Hoadley, no good. Tim Waldberg will stay. Alyssa Slotkin will. Radical Politics has told me before. She will keep the seat, even though you can see that Trump did win here. For some reason, he's still defending her in terms of winning slightly, so we'll have Alyssa Slotkin win. Fine, screw it. I saw Obama shilling for Alyssa Slotkin, by the way, so maybe that'll save her. I don't know. Haley Stevens, unfortunately, will probably barely hold on as well. I've not heard good things there, so that's unfortunate. No flips. Let's move on to Minnesota. We look again to the state, and Jim Hagedorn will win. Don't worry about it. That's a likely. Angela Craig against Tyler Kitchener. She'll probably hold on barely in the 2nd district. And then we look at Colin Peterson. That's a definite flip for sure. He's done. That blue wave saved him. No longer. Peter Strauber will stay. Anyways, let's keep Ilhan Omar. Unfortunately, will survive this race. Let's move on to Mississippi. Okay, so that's one net flip in Minnesota. Mississippi, nothing to see here. The black part here, the 2nd district, is going to stay very much in the Benny Thompson area. He's definitely going to win re-election there. Missouri is pretty irrelevant as well, other than for Ann Wagner, who's going to win anyway. I don't see what the big deal is. So let's have her win. The consensus, see, this is why the polls are garbage. Montana has nothing interesting. People will say that it's close for Greg Gianforte or Matt Rosendale, who's going to replace him. No such thing is the case. It'll be safe because the presidential coattails on its own. You could run Steve King as congressman here and it'll win probably. So come on. Nebraska has one relevant one, and that's Don Bacon against the progressive, or AKA Marxist socialist Kara Eastman. From what I've heard, he will win barely here anyway, or maybe lean, whatever, not a big deal. North Dakota, we're moving on to Nevada. Nevada has one that's relevant, and that is probably Susie Lee. Susie Lee is probably going to keep her seat barely as well because of how well she did in 2018, even negating the D+8 of Myerman or whatever. She still edges out the other person, so that's not a big deal. And again, you move on to New Hampshire. You have this one seat that's really in play, and that is Chris Pappas, who's gay, I think, against Matt Mowers. And I believe I did see this debate between these two, or as part of it. Matt Mowers does not seem like a great candidate in particular, and if Matt Mowers is not going to be carried by a Trump win in New Hampshire, then there's no way that he would win on his own merits probably, so that's going to be a lean. Chris Pappas probably will win by 2 to 3. New Jersey is next. We have a couple of interesting ones here, probably 2 that matter. Jeff Van Drew will win. He will get the center. He will win, lean. Andy Kim will probably lose because he barely won in 2018. And Tom Malinowski will keep his spot. So South Jersey is trending red. That's good. Okay, New Mexico. We have one that is important, and that's the 2nd district between Xochitl Torres-Small versus Yvette Herrell. So since it's so massively Republican, and the fact that Xochitl Torres-Small barely won, I would say that it's going to go lean for the other Hispanic lady. It's 2 middle-aged Hispanic women going against each other. Maybe Xochitl Torres-Small is millennial, whatever. That's a flip for Republicans. That's a good thing. That's a dub. And I did hear she was distancing herself from the fracking comments of Biden, but that does not save her guts, okay? That does not save her soul. New York has a couple interesting ones here, probably. Lee Zeldin will stay. Andrew Garbarino will stay as well in his seat. He will flip it. Max Rose will probably lose by a little bit to Nicole Miliatakis. A lot of people, Radical included, a lot of other people will say, well, Max Rose was moderate. He did disavow Bill de Blasio, which was good. But at the same time, I do think that, frankly, it is not enough for him to win, overcome the 10-point Trump surge here in Staten Island. He did do great in that place. So Nicole Miliatakis will somehow ride Trump's coattails here. Sean Maloney will probably keep his seat, probably because he did win by 10. So he's keeping it in New York 18th. Antonio Delgado, this black guy, I guess he's a Puerto Rican. Same thing. Anyway, I think he will lose the seat barely to Kyle Water, probably because the fact that the win was so big here in the 19th district for Trump. Anthony Brindisi will definitely lose to Claudia Tenney, 100%. Let's put that as a lean to likely. John Katko will keep his seat. He won it in a midterm. And Chris Jacobs will definitely keep a seat. Yeah, obviously, right? Anyways, let's move on. So that's, I think, 1 or 2 flips for the Republicans there in New York. That's good. North Carolina. North Carolina is going to be of little importance as well. Nothing big. The redistricting is very interesting to look at. I have no idea what's going on here. It's hard to tell what's going on. Anyways, we'll just move on. Oh yeah. Hold on. Let's talk about the 11th. Mo Davis versus Madison Cawthorn. If Trump did win it by 17, I think Madison would win it by at least 11. So that's safe for Madison Cawthorn, assuming that redistricting or whatever else doesn't change. So, I mean, yes, we will have another cripple in the Congress. Great. Also, Madison Cawthorn is going to be the youngest congressman in a long time and the youngest congressman in the current Congress. So, interesting stuff there. Ohio is... Oh, well, actually, do you want to skip North Dakota, guys? Or are you very excited for it? Because it's definitely going red. No new news there. Ohio has one that's important, in my opinion, probably, which is going to be the Chabot one. Apparently, the consensus thing is retarded because it doesn't have him winning. He will obviously win. And it is gerrymandered to the point where there's not a lot of places that are going to flip either way. So, interesting to see how the gerrymandering works there. Oklahoma has one flip for Republicans. I can tell you what. Kendra Horn will definitely lose to Stephanie Bice. Nothing's going to save her. The fracking comments, like, come on, are you kidding? Oregon has one sleeper flip, and that is Peter DeFazio could lose to Alex Skarlatos. I do not see it. I think Alex Skarlatos will lose by a little bit because, honestly, why would Trump do better in the 4th district than compared to last time? I don't see why, other than maybe the riots, but also suburban trends. I don't know. So, I mean, in 15% in a blue wave may seem like, well, it'll be halved because it's a general election, but still, that's still a win. So Peter DeFazio will save his ass here because of that cushion he had from last time. Pennsylvania, and look, Alex Skarlatos is cool in terms of optics. Didn't he stop a terrorist bombing of a bus or something, a train? And I mean, he did get endorsed by log cabin Republicans, not a good sign for him being America first, but whatever. Pennsylvania is another important state for the Congress. Brian Fitzpatrick will likely keep his seat because he did win it in a blue wave year, and if Trump wins the state, then he will win, which is in all likelihood going to happen. So he's going to barely win that one. Susan Wild has no chance of losing, basically. Matthew Cartwright will likely keep his seat barely. The 8th district. 8th district is up here near Scranton, which is going to be ideal for Sleepy Joe to carry him over or whatever. So, anyways, will he lose? It'll be close, but I think Matthew Cartwright will win. Scott Perry against Eugenio de Pascual or something will win. Guaranteed. Mike Kelly will win. Connor Lamb won big in the House. And if we look at the 17th district visually with our own eyes, this is a suburb of Philadelphia. He is running against Sean Parnell. And I think he will edge out Sean Parnell because Connor Lamb is a good candidate, number 1. And then number 2, that House seat race was just way too big. That's crazy. And I like Sean Parnell. He's great optics, but, he could be a star. But I don't know. He's running against tough competition, I'll tell you that. So he's keeping the seat. So hold on, what's the next state? Rhode Island. There's a lot of people that think that Rhode Island has a future for Republicans. And by a lot of people, I mean, well, at least the weight of multiple people think that Rhode Island will be red to some extent, that it'll have a future for a red governor or something. I don't see it. It's a blue as hell. Nothing's changing here. South Carolina has one seat that I do care about. Joe Wilson will definitely win. That's not even a competition. Look, it's over 10% for both the House victory in 2018 as well as in the presidential election in 2016. Why the hell is this competitive? In terms of Joe Cunningham, he will lose against Nancy Mace. He got carried by a 2018 midterm. He's going to get his ass kicked out to the street. So there you go. That's a flip. That's important. Tennessee has nothing of importance here, nothing in play. Move on to the state of Texas. Texas is extremely important for the future of the country. In terms of the Congress as well, Daniel Crenshaw will win. Neocon will stay. Lizzie Fletcher will not lose her spot, which is approximately in the 7th District, which is somewhere around Dallas, I believe, which is not a good sign. Dallas is trending blue, apparently. So Wesley Hunt is black, so that's good optics, but will he win? Probably not, especially assuming that the president only won by 1.4% in 2016, which means that he would have to outperform in Texas this time to carry over Wesley Hunt, assuming Wesley cannot win on his own merit. So, I mean, I would give the Democrat a 60% chance of winning, so that's unfortunate for him. Maybe it's the hairline, the receding hairline, that's making Wesley Hunt lose. Or maybe I'm confusing him with another black guy, but anyways, Chip Roy will win. No worries here. Pete Olson will win. Well, not Pete Olson, but the seat here, the 22nd, will go red. People say the 22nd is a sleeper flip. You guys are retarded. The 22nd, where is it even? I can't even find it. Anyway, yeah, that's going to be good for us. Will Hurd will make us lose this seat. He was a moderate pro-DACA, the only black guy, I think, in Congress for the Republicans. Tony Gonzalez will likely lose that seat, assuming that he does not do amazing with Hispanics. I don't see it. Candace Valenzuela versus Beth Dune, as Kenny Marchant will retire. The Republican will win, so that's important. And Colin Allred is going to beat Genevieve Collins, so nothing to see here. So, yeah, we did gain a little bit from Texas, actually. Utah. What about Utah? Utah has one seat, Ben McAdams, who looks like the gay guy from It's Always Sunny. Neil Patrick Harris, yes. He will lose to Burgess Owens, in my opinion. Trump won it by 6.7, and that's including the McMuffin vote. McMuffin, without him there, Trump would have gone like 10 probably, which means that it is a safe district overall for the presidential. The fourth, it is Salt Lake City, that area. And also, let's keep in mind that Burgess Owens is good optics. He's a black guy. He has a good life story. He has a charisma to him. He will win at least a lean. Ben McAdams is going to be out on the street. Anyway, Vermont is irrelevant. Nobody's running here. Peter Welch, whatevs. Virginia has a couple seats that are important. But as of right now, we have Robert Whitman, who's going to win definitely. We're going to have Elaine Luria, who is going to win, maybe. Hold on. Against Scott Taylor, we look at VA2. VA2 on the map is in Virginia Beach on the right wing of that state. And it is very urban, though. That is a problem. It is 3% for the Republicans. Good income here. Pretty white, but also decent amount of blacks. That is no good. For Republicans, I think Scott Taylor is good optics, though, therefore. But then also Trump is going to lose part of that vote as well. Jeez, this is going to be a tough one to call. Scott Taylor, This is hard. I would have to see a debate. But as of right now, I will, damn. It depends how much Trump loses in the state. This is a pure toss-up. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have it as... Oh my God, this is going to be rough to call. Because she only did 2.2 in the 2018 midterms, which means it cannot be trending that much. Which makes me think that Scott Taylor will flip it. Also, we have Denver Riggleman, who was pro-gay marriage, I believe, getting kicked out. So that's going to be good for Bob Good. And Abigail Spanberger will lose to Nick Freitas. Nick Freitas is good optics. He has a cool name, kind of. And that's going to make it so that we keep 2/3 of the landmass of Virginia on our side, probably more like 4/5. Anyways, let's move on to the state of Washington. Washington has next to nothing going on in the state. The 8th district is somewhat close, I guess, but not really anything of substance to look at here. Virginia, we already went by West Virginia. Completely irrelevant. Red as hell. Move on to Wisconsin. Nothing much, surprisingly, for a very close state. There's not much going on in terms of the Congress here. Paul Ryan is gone. Trump won Wisconsin's 3rd district, which is in the western part, which is next to Minnesota here. And the House victory by Ron Kind is pretty astounding, which makes me think that he will keep the seat probably by a lot. So let's give him a likely to safe here. Yeah, so that's Wisconsin. We move on to the next state of Wyoming. And Hertdider, we have neocon, the queen of neocons, Liz Cheney, beating Lynette Bull, definitely easily safe, unfortunately. Well, kind of unfortunately, kind of not. Any Republican's better than any Democrat for the most part, but Liz Cheney is very hateable. As you can see, it's 215 Republicans, 220 Democrats. We do sure make it a lot closer than it was. Republicans here do gain a net 15-ish seats. But unfortunately, I do not see it in the cards for the Republicans to win. In order for us to win, we would have to win virtually every single one that's in play. And maybe that would have been able to happen if Trump had not had the China virus happen in the first place. If we had a solid economy, he had like 49% RCP approval. But alas, that did not happen. So, or if Bernie were the candidate, then maybe we could win, but that's not going to happen. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Wait, hold on. What are the odds of Republicans winning the Congress, flipping the House? I'd say it's 5%, 10%, less than 20. I used to be more optimistic a couple weeks ago when I made a video about this, but the trends did not work out enough in the polls or anything else to make me think that we're going to flip the House. And remember, when I did have the House flipping, I had it within 1, I think so. Alas, that's what happens. Anyways, guys, it is good that we do make it closer, so not so much craziness does pass the House, and maybe we could kill Nancy Pelosi from getting certain things passed through the House, hopefully with some Democrat defectors. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and let's go win this election. Thank you, and goodbye.